Welcome to this edition of You Can Get There From Here. I'm Dr. Joe Moore, your host for this week, and I am the chair of the Department of Communication and Digital Media Production at the University of Central Missouri. It is my pleasure every week to get to visit with some of our alumni in communication studies, digital media production, and our master's program to talk to them about what they're doing today and how the program helped them get there. Today, we have a special guest, Michael Frazier. Michael is living the dream, living out in Los Angeles, where he is a freelance cinematographer and editor. Michael, great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, what are you up to today? What kind of work are you doing out there in LA?
So I came to LA to be a DP or cinematographer, and I moved here about 2 years ago, 22 of September, so coming up on 2 years. And I'm mainly working on set, um, kind of trying to go full time as a cinematographer, but I've only been here for 2 years, so I've just been trying to build my connections up. So I've been video editing as well. So I work for a few clients, and um, I do a lot of like social media and then some shorter form like interview driven content, and that kind of keeps me busy. So I just shot a music video last week, and I just finished up my second feature film shooting as a cinematographer. So I've been kind of taking a break after that. That was like a whole 5 month process. So
So,
yeah,
a film you're producing or somebody else is producing, they hired you to be the cinematographer.
somebody else produced and
Okay.
they hired me. Yeah.
Okay. So
Um,
you're an independent contractor, right?
yes.
Okay. How do you find consistent work as a cinematographer? You talked about, or as an independent contractor, you said that you've been working out there for a couple of years trying to get your name out there. How does explain that process to us?
Mhm. So I came with very few connections out here. Like I was connected with some people uh that I had mutual friendship with from Kansas City, and I met up with them whenever I got here, and I've gotten work from them, but that took a little bit. I when I moved here, I didn't work for like a month because I was just there was just nothing going on for me. And after like a few weeks, I started kind of getting antsy a little bit. I wanted to like go out and work. I had worked for 5 years at a production company called KJO Media in Kansas City,
Hmm.
full time. So I had quit the job and then moved out to LA. But so I was just not working for a month and I was getting antsy. So I joined all these Facebook groups on like LA Film. And there was one group I joined called Low Budget LA Film Connections. And it was like a Friday night. I was just at my apartment, kind of just scrolling through Facebook, and I saw somebody post that they needed an AC for a music video for free the next day.
AC,
So,
AC is
oh, sorry, camera assistant.
okay. Okay.
So, I saw that and I was like, and they wanted them for tomorrow or the next day, and I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'll just message them real quick and see if I can just like get on the shoot and just be on set. And I messaged her, and she's like, yeah, come out. So I went out and I worked on that set, and that was the first set I worked in LA. And I ended up meeting a bunch of people on there. And from there, it kind of snowballed. So I met them, and then they liked working with me. And they're like, hey, you want to come out for this project? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So then I would go on to a different project, and I would meet a bunch of people through that. And then it just kind of like branched out from there. So I wasn't shooting at first, but I was doing grip work and camera assisting and just anything I could get on set. I was even like PAing on some things. And then slowly I kind of just built my network over the last couple of years. And then also I would tell people that I want to be a DP or a cinematographer, and here's my reel. Here's my website. If you ever need a cinematographer, just let me know. And I slowly started getting work through that, and it was a lot of free work at first. Um, so like I would have like a friend that wanted a DP for a short, so I would shoot the short, and
What's a DP?
director of photography. So
Okay.
it's
All
the
right.
same thing, cinematographer.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I just kind of started off doing a bunch of free work, and then slowly it's getting paid, and then I've just met more people through that, and then yeah, it's just kind of a snowball effect, I feel like.
So is this kind of a common way for those who want to get into cinematography is, you talked about for 5 years you worked at KJO, you had steady work, you're
Hmm.
you're getting a steady salary, and then you just decided, you know what, it's time. I'm going to LA. I want to try and chase this dream of being a cinematographer.
Hmm.
Is that pretty common to go out and you're working for free or you're freelancing to start out?
I think so. I mean, I think everyone's different. Um, Everyone's paths different, but what I found worked for me was I worked full time for 5 years, kind of just building my reel and my website.
Hmm.
Uh, the production company I worked for was a lot of corporate and like nonprofit
Right.
um, shooting and editing, and I learned a lot through that. And I was really lucky to work there because they would let me. Well, first off, I learned so much from everyone that worked there. I loved Keijo. Great group, and
Yeah, we've had a couple students, including you, that have worked with them and have always
yeah,
spoken very highly of them. Yeah.
yeah, they're. I mean, yeah, they're amazing. So they would let me borrow equipment on the weekends and like shoot my own like music videos and shorts. And I would meet up with like Cordell Ballard, um, and we would shoot short films that he would direct, or I would have a music video for an artist that I met in Kansas City. So I would just, for over like 5 years, I would just shoot a bunch of like passion projects on the weekends, like stuff that was more in line with what I eventually wanted to shoot. So I want to be a feature film DP. So I needed to shoot like films,
Right.
shorts, music videos. Um, and over 5 years, I felt like I built up a good amount of work to where I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to move at some point to LA to see if I can make it in that market.
Hmm.
Because Kansas City is great, and there's a lot of film going on there right now. But I
Yeah, with
just
all the tax breaks now, yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of features being shot. I actually shot my first feature in Kansas City last year. Um, and but I just wanted to see if I just want to try LA out and to see if it doesn't work out, come back and work in Kansas City, that's fine. But I just wanted to see, like I didn't want to wonder. And um so I made the move, and that's kind of how I did it. I felt like I was ready to just freelance full time because I had a good amount on my website and my reel. I could show people. Um, I know some people will freelance right out of college. That's great. Uh, it works out for a lot of people that way, but I just felt like for me, I just had to have a good amount of work under my belt before I could like fully support myself full time
Yeah, you
as a
wanted to
contractor.
yeah, you wanted to have that base before you made that leap and tried LA. For those
Mhm.
who are wondering or listening or watching, Cordell Ballard is another one of our graduates. He was a
Mhm.
graduate assistant here, did a lot of big projects. He did an internship with KJO, and he's actually now working back on campus in our instructional television area. So Michael, when you first came to the university, did you know then what you wanted to do ultimately, or is that something you kind of developed as you went through the classes and worked on projects?
Yes and no. I wanted, well, actually, when I came into UCM, I actually didn't know there was a DMP program
Yeah, we got to do a
until
better job of publicizing.
because I ran cross country and track there at UCM, and that was like a big focus in my life at that point. But I didn't really I did video in high school. I've done honestly, I've done video since like elementary. I was always like shooting stuff with my parents' like camcorder. I did broadcasts in high school. So I really liked video editing, but I didn't know that was something I could do as like a job.
Mhm.
Um, and so I went to UCM. I was undecided on my major. for the first semester, and I took Ken Schuler's class on, I forgot what it was called.
Open options
Yeah, it was
or
just
or
like
exploring majors. It was one
exploring
of
major.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Ken
yeah.
just retired. Ken
I
just retired.
know.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
We love Ken.
Yeah. So actually, funny story about that was I right before my first day at UCM, I was at orientation and I was in his seminar, and he came up to me and he's like, nice to meet you. Looking forward to like the school year. And I was like, yeah. I think I don't know if I'm gonna take this class because I think I already know what I want to do. I want to do something in health studies. And he's like, are you sure about that? And I was like, uh, okay, I'll take the class. So I ended up,
Good job, Ken.
yeah, yeah. So I took it and then realized that I was still really connected with editing and video and like motion picture. And I found out there's DMP at UCM. So I ended up transferring into the major after that. And um, yeah, I think throughout all of college, I wanted to be a just a video editor, like film editor. Um, and that's kind of what I like lean towards. But towards the end of my time at UCM, I got into like cinematography with Dr. Price, and I realized that I liked being behind the camera a lot. Um, so that kind of started that whole process, like towards the end of my time at UCM. Um, and then when I worked at Keijo, I still wanted to be a video editor. Like that's what I wanted to do. Like the long-term goal was just to be a video editor. And whenever I was working at Keijo, I was shooting too. So then I started to realize like, oh, I really like shooting. Like I kind of like this more than editing. And then during my time there is when I found out I wanted to be a cinematographer.
So you mentioned the cinematography course. What other courses stood out for you that really kind of shaped your interests and helped you build your skills?
hmm I really like narrative production with Dr. Braun Summer. Um, I liked making the films in that class. I also had a good group of people to work with, like Brock Masters, Mason Potter, Cordell, Anna Glennon. Um, so that was a fun class. I really enjoyed that. And then all of Dr. Newsom's classes,
Yeah.
just because I love him as a professor, and he always made those classes fun and engaging. Um, and then Dr. Graves, uh, his film classes like American film and international film. Um, I really enjoyed those too. And then also whenever Grant Curtis was teaching us,
Yeah.
uh, his class, it was also, I think that was international film. Great. I loved him as a professor too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys that we talk about a lot. For those
Mhm,
who don't know, Grant Curtis, one of our alum, executive producer of the original three Spider-Man films with Tobey
mhm.
Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, the ones I call the good ones, the original ones,
Yeah.
because those are my favorites. So you
Mhm,
talked about some of the classes you took that
mhm,
helped build those skills. You've talked a little bit about working at Keijo, doing your internship. What other clubs and activities were you involved in that really helped build? Because we talk about that, we're going to train you in the classes, but
mhm.
you really got to go practice these skills. What else were you
Right.
involved in?
Um, I did a few of the 48-hour films with what was the group that
The Media Creators
Media
Association?
Creators, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a few things with them in the meetings. I know Brock was like the president at the time. Um, so I did that, and then like I said, Cordell and I would always work together on just random stuff outside of class. He produced like an interview show
Mm-hmm.
called Part of the Mule.
Mm-hmm.
So we were interviewing a bunch of Fellowship of Christian Athlete students. And we made a whole show about it. We'd go and like get B-roll of them uh playing or just like their daily life. And that was completely outside of class. And we would do just shorts. We'd shoot shorts when we could. I think that was a big thing was just getting projects outside of like the schoolwork to do. Because um, when you're there, you have access to equipment from the labs and you have access to students or like collaborators. So I think just like going out and doing stuff on the weekends and just like building up um your skills and the amount of work you have under your belt, I think that was like, very beneficial for me. Um,
So it sounds like you did a nice job of blending the classes with some club and organization work, but then also you were kind of entrepreneurial and came up with your own projects and your own things that you wanted to do
mhm,
to help build those skills. And I
right,
would say as a independent contractor, as a freelancer, that's probably served you well.
mhm,
So last two questions, and I ask these of everybody.
mhm,
First of all, what advice would you give to a current UCM student studying digital media production?
mhm,
And then for a student who's considering UCM to come further their education and follow their dreams in digital media, what would you
mhm.
say to them to encourage them?
Okay. Well, advice I'd give to a current student, or is that the first question out
Current
of those
student.
two?
Yep,
Yeah,
current
yeah.
student.
Advice I would give is take advantage of the resources that you have at UCM while you're there. Take advantage of the equipment that you get to use and all of the other students that want to do the same thing as you, and also the knowledge of your professors. Because when you're there, basically it's your time to make mistakes and do a lot of projects and not have to worry about like getting paid or like the stress of just working in a full-time or a part-time environment. I think just like getting the reps under your
Hmm.
belt and just doing as much as you can, like outside of class.
Yeah,
I
reps, that's
think,
a good way of putting that.
yeah,
Getting
yeah,
those repetitions.
yeah. So just like getting your friends together and like shooting like a film or a music video, I think, because the classwork, it's great. But I think if you really want to excel, you got to do more. And just I think the 4 years or however long you're at UCM, I think that's your time to just hone in and just focus on making work or making projects and like focusing on your like craft. Because after you graduate, you got to worry about paying your, well, I guess you worry about paying bills whenever you're in school too, but I feel like it's just you have more resources while you're at UCM to just use. So,
Yeah, you're not gonna have to rent that equipment while you're here.
right, right.
So yeah.
Um,
Again, love that about the repetitions. What do they say? It takes 1,000 hours at something to become an expert.
mhm,
Well, you take a narrative production class, for example. You're in class for 45 hours,
mhm,
3 hours a week, 15 weeks. You're only in class 45 hours. You've got
mhm.
another 955 hours to go before you're an expert. So yeah,
Right.
get out and get those reps. So
Hmm.
so what about for a student who's thinking about UCM?
Students thinking about UCM. I think a student that would like hands-on um, opportunities, and what I really liked about UCM was the classes weren't too big, and you could interact with the professors and students more. I feel like whenever the classroom sizes are smaller, and um, you're able to know like your fellow like students, and the professor like knows you, and um, I think the relationships you build, I don't know if they're better, but I think they're more like authentic. to whenever you're just in a smaller group. Um, so I think a future student, I feel like that's a huge benefit of going to UCM is just smaller class sizes and just the hands-on learning that you get there. Um, and like I said, I keep going back to the equipment, but yeah, the DMP labs are great and they have a ton of stuff that you can utilize. So yeah,
I'm in the labs right now recording this. So,
right.
so take advantage of the equipment, use your faculty, work with your classmates, all of that. All those things that Michael Frazier put together to have a great 5 years at KJO. Now is getting a chance to follow that dream out in LA. And Michael, we're proud of you. You're doing some cool things. Keep us posted. Let us know how things are going for you out there. And thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thanks to all of you who tuned in today. Remember, you can catch every episode each week on our YouTube channel through UCM Media Network. That's youtube.com/UCMMN. You can also listen on Spotify. Again, this is Dr. Joe Moore reminding you, you can get there from here. Have a great day.